Shall start, guys.
Good evening, everyone. It's a great pleasure to invite you all here for the sixth session of Commerce 101. As I'm sure you all know, Commerce 101 is a project which includes workshops and seminar series organized by the Commerce Club of the Department of Commerce and Financial Management. So today, first of all, I cordially welcome Dr. M. Shamil, Senior Lecturer and the Head of the Department of Commerce and Financial Management, to share a few words.
Okay, thank you very much for inviting us. I think we should thank Keshavi, of course, joining us to do this. There was a need actually, Keshavi. Our guys said that they wanted to like have a good understanding how to prepare a kind of professional CV. I've observed that because we have a now a particular automated kind of internship recording system. Let's say if you are the supervisor of an intern, you can give the records directly to our system from there itself. So we have that kind of what you call documentation center and the internship recording system. So I have like as a lecturer, I would get about 8 students for monitoring purpose. So what I noticed was when they prepare the CV, they are supposed to upload at least a CV on their system, maximum like 2 pages or something, like a resume kind of a thing. I noticed some of them are very professional, very good. Some of them have long way to go. For example, the references, they might put a school teacher or someone may not be in it seems to be that they do it for the sake of doing it. They don't give much thought into preparing the CV, and sometimes they tend to highlight their O levels a bit more. Obviously you're doing, you are going to become a graduate, so don't need to spend much emphasis on O levels, but rather special projects, activities that you might have carried out during school, leadership, and attribute those might probably, everyone knows if you're a graduate, you have done your O levels in Sri Lanka, so no issues with that. But rather, if you can show your leadership, examples where you act as a leader, where you did teamwork, I think that's much more, good for people who are looking to recruit. So I think we have to show them, we have to strike the balance between what is important, what is not, and sometimes it depends on the type of job or internship that you're applying for as well. And even the outlook of the CV, what to put, what not to put. Some people have a very basic kind of a CV, you don't feel like going through it, right? And this is 21st century, guys. Come on, I don't need to tell this, right? Though we tell this, you just go to a LinkedIn or some website, you will see a good CV. You just do a quick Google search and go for image search, you will see professional CV, templates. Right. So I think you must understand the world is changing. So your people, luckily we have automated systems, right? But if you go by old days, sometimes a normal training position, you might get gunny bags of CVs. So just imagine how someone is going to go through all those CVs, right? Public sector, I think still it is the case. So how would you pick up one, right? So how would your CV would be standing out from others, right? So I think we have Keshavi who goes through the CVs. I think, Unilever called me a couple of days back last week, I think, calling for some graduates, for employment. So this is a good connection to have. So once you complete, you can, directly send your CVs to them. They have vacancies. Of course, you have to meet the expectations. So this is how you learn about the expectations firsthand. So Keshavi, it's over to you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Shamil. Good evening, everyone. Can I hear something, or you can write, say good evening, maybe. It's not good evening. Is it not a good evening, or how is it? How are you all doing? All good?
Good evening, madam.
Great. Madam. Oh, that at least now I can hear all of you. So, how are you all doing? Are you all doing well, safe at home, or studying these days for your exams or doing assignment? Maybe you can type 1 or 2 lines saying how you guys are doing, whether you guys have been studying these days, or are you guys having assignments these days, or preparing for your industrial training programs? So how is it going on? Are you all third years, second years? How can I get to know some more information about my audience? Why don't you write in the chat, or maybe 1 or 2 can unmute and tell me. Don't be shy. Okay, preparing for exams. Okay, great, great. So all of you guys are third years, or are you guys fourth years? Or second years? is it a mix? මෙතන mix එකක් දෙන්නේ නැත්නම් third years ලා දෙන්නේ fourth years ලා දෙන්නේ. How is it like? Maybe you can type which year you guys are from. Type කරගෙන කන්න බලන්න. So that it's easy for me to talk about this CV thing. Otherwise, I will not know my audience. It's not going to be easy for me to explain. Okay. So it's a mix. Okay. First year's line, second year's line. Okay. Fourth years, first years. Okay. Third year, fourth year. So there's a mix. Majority in our second year's line. Okay. Mix. Great. That's why some of you are silent and some of you guys are okay to talk. So tell me which language I should be using today. Should I be speaking in English? Or should I be speaking in Sinhala? Or should I be using both the languages? How do you want me to go about it? Are there students who doesn't understand Sinhala at all? Both okay. Okay, mix of both languages. Great. Okay, then I will do as you guys say. As long as you understand the session, that's what matters. Yeah. So therefore, I will use both the languages on and off. If there's any place that you don't understand, please stop me and let me know. Okay. Great. Now, I think Dr. Shamil shared some really valuable insights, right? He mentioned that how do you make your CV stand out? There are piles and piles of CVs, sometimes in public sector, and sometimes there are automated systems available, and some places you don't have automated systems. And how do you I'll tell the real story. In our country, in the automated system arena, most of our companies. So we get PDFs, yes, the Word documents of the CV, and some companies still prefer the printed format. Yeah. So how does your CV stand out? It's a question mark. As an example, advertisement බලනවානේ TV එකේ සමහරවිට ඔයගොල්ලෝ වෙන channel එකකට දානවා, you don't even like to watch that ad. Right? You don't like to watch that advertisement, you change the advertisement. Just like that, when your CV comes, there's a tendency sometimes we don't check the CV, we take it away. Like we keep it aside. Then like a recruiter would spend in reading a CV. As you think, how many seconds or minutes that a recruiter will spend in reading a CV? You can type here in the chat box. Or you can unmute and tell 30 seconds. Okay. So one is saying 30 seconds. What else? 1 minute. Okay. You guys would have how many days to make this CV? 7. Copy paste. You know, sometimes we get the same CV copy pasted. Sometimes they even forget to replace the picture. In career fairs, we see the same photo. How come are you twins? No, we are not twins. And then why are you have the same photo? The same previous person also has the same photo. So I have to copy paste in the career fairs. So I get only 2 answers: 30 seconds or 1 minute. Is that all? How many seconds do you think that we will spend in reading a CV? Interactions make it very interesting. So how many seconds as you think? 5 minutes. Okay. 1 to 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 1 minute. So recently for our Sparks program, we got 1,500 CVs. So do you think that we will spend 7,500 minutes if we take 5 minutes to read one CV to go through? How many hours is that? like parallelly, apart from that, we have a lot of vacancies happening, right? So if it is 1 minute, do you think that we will spend 1,500 minutes to read all that CVs? Even if it's 30 seconds, do you think that we will take 4,500 seconds? No, we will actually spend only 3 to 5 seconds to read a CV. The CV that you take like 7 days to 5 days to make, we actually, like, if these are the two sides, we will just skim through the CV. Because we don't have time. Businesses don't have time to spend too much on a CV, but how can you make yourself stand out through the CV? It's like, to the point, you need to put the right information to the job that you're applying. Having a static CV might not help. How many of you have a couple of CVs? CV දෙක තුනක් තියෙන අය කවුද බලන්න කියන්න. එක CV එකක් විතර තියෙන පැන ඔලුව කැක්කුමට පැනඩෝල් බඩේ අමාරුට පැනඩෝල් අතේ කැක්කුමට පැනඩෝල් හැම එකටම බොනවා වගේ හැම එකටම එක CV එකක් තියෙන විතරද නැත්නම් CV කීපයක් තියාගෙන ඉන්නවද jobs වෙනස් වෙන job එකට? How do you think about it? How many of you have more than 1, 2, 3 CVs? Even for especially 4th years. If you are not applying for jobs. But having a static CV doesn't make sense. You have to have a CV that caters to the job. Have to have a CV that caters to the job. Where apply like say you want to apply for finance, you need to know how many types of jobs are available in finance. There's finance manager, there's a treasury manager, there's an accountant, then you might have a management accountant, then you might have a financial accountant. Job hire CV. There's no point. If you're applying for HR, you have training manager, you have recruitment manager, then you have reward manager, then you might be having HR business partner, then you might have a factory HR manager. For all those jobs, do you have one CV? There's no point. Because all these jobs are different. All these jobs will require different set of skills. All these jobs will look at a different portfolio, like a caliber. And you need to prepare your CV according to the job. You can't have one CV and send to 100 types of jobs. There's no point. Yeah. So that is the context I just wanted to make before we get into the conversation on how to make the CV. But as of now, are you clear? Am I going at a okay pace? Am I too fast? Or am I too slow? Am I too slow? Am I okay? Can all of you understand? Clear? Okay? Okay, great. Like if you guys don't understand, if I'm too fast, if I'm too slow, if I'm not clear, just stop me and understand. In the end of the day, the time that you are spending to listen to me is very important. This time is money. The time that you are spending here is gone. It is not a reproducible asset. It's very, very valuable for me as well as you. So get the best out of this time. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen. Tell me whether it is visible. You can? Can you see the screen?
Yes, ma'am. Now it's
Yes, madam.
Okay, let me see.
Yes, madam.
Which one? Do you see the presenter slide or the other side? Not the presenter version, right? You are not seeing the presenter version, like you are seeing the proper version, is it correct?
Yes, madam.
Okay, great. Because last time I was presenting and I thought I was presenting, it seems that I was not presenting and the students didn't tell me for like good 15 minutes. Okay. Now when it comes to the CV, if you have a paper and a pen, you can start making like just cut away the CV probably. You start with the usual information, your name, contact information, email address, and all of that. See, the thing is, when it comes to making your CV, don't try to make it so heavy. Don't make a 1 GB CV. You know what GB, right? Gigabyte. So don't make a CV which is 1 gigabyte, because the recruiter's mailbox will collapse after and might not even open up. Your CV might not even open up when they try to open it up. So try to make it in kilobyte size, or try to make it at less than 1 megabyte to 2 megabyte, maximum 3 megabytes, smaller CV. So that means when you're uploading your photograph, try to have a good photograph, but that photograph shouldn't be like at the bestest quality, which has like 3, 4, 5 GBs, because your CV will be very heavy. And when sometimes it reaches the recruiter might not be able to open it up, or sometimes the certain systems will not allow you to upload the CV. So be mindful about the size of your CV. That's one thing. Another thing is the photograph. Please don't publish your full body photograph in the CV. The face and above your shoulder is more than enough. Yeah, no need to upload the full body. Sometimes we get a CV where left hand side you have like the full person, and then the other side the information comes in. There's no need for that. You can just show your photo, but sometimes it's not important as well. I mean, having it is fine, but make sure you put your best face forward and your recent face. Not the face when you were in grade 11 or grade 8 or grade 9. You look very pretty and cute when you were a kid, but that doesn't mean you upload that photo to your recent CV. Yeah, and we should be able to recognize your face when you come for the interview. Now, therefore, recent face is much better than the face that you had, like, I don't know, 7 to 8, 9 years ago when you were doing A-levels or something. No, that's me. You guys just did A-levels, right? I'm so sorry. If I uploaded a picture 7 to 9, 10 years ago, that was me doing A-levels. That's also 12 years ago. You guys did A-levels, I think 3 years ago, right? So maybe don't upload a picture when you all were 10 in grade 10 or grade 11. Upload a picture where you are right now. When you're updating information, very importantly, remember contact information. Don't share information, especially the mobile numbers that you are not using, or parents or family, other members, because when we call, if you get shortlisted, these are very practical issues that I'm sharing with all of you. Most of the time, undergraduates share information that we try to call, it's not reachable. And most of the time it's a home landline. Sometimes the landline, sometimes parents don't know whether they have applied for a job or not. So there are certain concerns. Email address, you guys sometimes forget to put proper spellings. Gmail, gmail.com, right? So don't put the other way around, gmail.com. So then the email bounces back. So make sure that you look at your email addresses, information, and NIC number, not required 100%. But if you are applying for, if you are putting national identity card number and trying to send it to a public authority or somewhere, please send in register post. Register tapaling yawana. Which one should I explain in Sinhala? Which part? Achala, oh Achala. I just saw. Which part you want me to explain in Sinhala? If you can type that to me, I'll explain for sure. So when you are sending, if you are putting the national identity card number, make sure whenever you are sending either password protected or something, or don't put the NIC number at all, because it's your private information, very, very sensitive information. And if you are sending via post, register post so that you have that safeguarded in case if something goes wrong. So when you are putting this segment, please make sure that whenever we can reach out to you, we can reach out to you. Make a tamai වැදගත්ම segment එක apart from other segment if you get shortlisted. And if this part is not correct, we can't get through to you. And on the other hand, name එක ගත්තොත්, you need to put the right name that people know about you. Like as an example, now I have 3 names. My name goes as Keshavi Upeksha Dilhani. And if I put as Dilhani Puspewala, and if another company calls and asks my mother Dilhani, my mother might sometimes say no, wrong number. Because mostly my parents might have even forgotten that I have that name, because of the fact that it's not used enough. So therefore, please remember, use a name that's most of the people know about you. And even if we call another person and ask about you, a name that's mostly known about you, if you have a lot of names like I have. So are you clear about this segment? Achala, are you clear? Do I have to explain in any part in Sinhala? You can drop a direct message to me also. Okay. This part, everyone, are you clear about this part? So may part ekak ekka a very important segment ekak enawa, your vision or mission. Like what do you want? What is that value that you want to add to the business? Goal එක මොකක්ද? ඔගේ project එක වගේ, what is your vision or the purpose? That adding that is very important. So make sure that you add a small segment of what is it that you envision for the future. Now, are you clear about this segment? Are there any questions by far? Are you all clear?
Yes, madam, clear.
Okay. Now, second segment depends on the country and the company or what sector that you want to apply. Now, say as an example, if you are planning to be, if you are planning to apply to diplomatic sector, say you want to be in university assistant lecturer or something like that, or you are applying for corporate. Now, therefore, there are 2 segments. I'm not too sure, probably Dr. Shamal can add to that if it is the same thing. But what we have been advised is that if you're applying for education sector, you need to prioritize education segment as the second segment. If you're applying to corporate sector, then you need to prioritize work experience as the second segment. So whatever matters to the place that you're applying. But another thing that you need to understand is, if you are apply, you need to go through a little bit of a research as to how these countries, other countries in the world, they look at CVs. Now, as an example, if you're applying to USA, ඒගොල්ලෝ බලන්නේ 1 pages. Yeah, they don't like long pages. Now, some countries like longer CVs, some like 2 pages. So you really need to understand, depending on the country and the sector that you apply, what's the demand. Sri Lanka, it's mostly 2 pages, not 7-8 pages. There's no time for people to read that. Maximum 3. 1 page is also fine. But if you are putting 1 page, be very sure how you are going to put it. But 2 pages are okay. Now, if you are putting education, how you do that is you put the university, faculty name, the degree that you are following. What is the year of the program, whether you're a 3rd year or a 2nd year, if you're applying for specifically an internship program, if you're in the 3rd year or a 2nd year, and if you are expecting a grade, say, having scores for a 1st class or a 2nd up or likewise. And then with that, you can add your professional certifications, whether you have CIMA or I don't know, CIMA or chartered, or likewise, if you are having any professional certifications, this is the place where you add that information. this is pretty simple and straightforward. You don't have to put any information, but if you're applying for another country, they probably won't know what is University of Kelaniya or University of Colombo likewise. So you can actually, as a footnote, after putting all the information in a lower, smaller font, you can add the link to the university website so that they can click and find out more about the university if they prefer, if you're applying to another country. Usually that we do sometimes, but this is pretty straightforward, pretty simple, nothing tough. This is quite easy for you to manage. University name, faculty name, degree program, year of the program, and whatnot. Like, you don't have to update all your like this is the module segment that I'm doing in the first year, this is the second year segment, this is the third year segment, these are the grades that I have. Nothing required like that. When you say you are doing this particular degree, mostly we understand, okay, probably this is what it is. If we have any doubts, if you have any question in the interview segment, we will ask more questions. This is very simple as far as education is concerned. Sorry about the layout issue. This was designed for another this thing. So work experience, this is a little bit tricky. Now, if you have any other work experience, now some of you do these banking internships, right? Or sometimes you do part-time jobs. Now, when you do this, when you put this information, what is the most important part for us would be the segment that I have mentioned as the 5 bullet points, roles and responsibilities, and what are the achievements that you have done. Now, this is not about updating your job description. It is not required. You don't have to update your job description. Okay, I like taking care of this, my responsibility was this and that. This is not required. The most important part of this part is, what is the value addition that you brought into the table? So as an example, how many of you have done internships here? Like, probably you put a reaction, like say, you can raise your hand or something like that. Okay, so some of you have done internship. Wow, so I can see one hand up. Okay, so, okay. Okay, so now if you are making your CV, now, especially who have done your internships, what you need to update in your CV is not the job description of your CV. What you need to update is, what is the value addition that you brought to the business through your internship. So as an example, say you were an HR intern and you were HR learning intern for training department, and you have been doing usual training for work. But then what was the value addition that you brought in? One would be running 100 training programs within 6 months. Building simplified budget calculator for all training programs. Building a training dashboard for the management to analyze training curriculums. You know, this is what we mean by the value addition to the business. So usually when an intern comes to us, when someone comes to the interview, what we look at is, well, this person has done an internship. So we would ask a question. So what did you do? So some students are able to articulate what they have done, but some students cannot explain the value addition that they have done during the internship. What we need actually, who we are looking for, is that people who can add value to the business. Then overlay CV එකෙන් තමයි we try to find proof that you are good enough and we can hire you because you have potential and you have some experience and you have some capability. If you don't show us proof, අපිට proof නැත්තම් in the CV, your CV is like, okay, we checked and kept aside. CV එකක් වෙනවා. But if you have some value in the CV, that's when we think, okay, මේ ළමයා has done 100 trainings. Okay, this person has made a dashboard. That means this person has analytical skills. 100 training programs කරලා තියෙනවා මාස 7ක් ඇතුළත. That means this person has capability of managing stakeholders, has some idea of how to manage budgets, have some organizing capabilities. So I guess we can pass this person to the next round of interviews. That's how we judge, or because that's the only document we have to figure out whether you are good enough or not to progress with us. So therefore, මේ segment, this segment of one second. This segment, maximum number of bullet points, the projects and targets achievement is very, very important for us to justify whether you will proceed further to the next round or not. The department, of course, matters when you are applying, but most of the time, like when we get a CV to our department, we know probably this person might be from the same faculty, like the same background that they want to work for. But sometimes we are getting people from other, like say engineers apply for HR, or maybe marketeers apply for supply chain. So it happens in Sri Lanka. Our students apply for different functions. But one thing is that the most important segment is whether you justify the fact that you are good enough to be a part of our company. Yeah. Is this segment clear? Clear? Yeah. Okay. මට වෙන්න මෙතන කියන්න බැරි වුණා. Now මේ education part එකේ you put the university name, you put the faculty name, then after that segment you put the school. Now you put the school, but you don't have to put, if you have, obviously you have done O levels, you have done A levels, that's why you are in the university. So you don't have to put this accounting A, this A, likewise. You can just say 3 A's, something like that. So 4 A's, something like that. If it is O level, you don't have to put history A, Sinhala A, English B. Likewise, you don't have to put all your 10 subjects. You can just say 7 A's, 8 B's or something like that, and enough. The school and the year of A level and how many A, whatever. See, the thing is sometimes nowadays, there are students who are in the private, hello. I think there is a background noise. Okay, thank you very much. I think it's a 4 days to understand. Okay, so yeah, there are some students who doesn't do A levels now. I don't know whether you are aware. There's a sector of students who doesn't do A levels, who after O levels, they do series of exams called foundation, and they get into universities abroad. So therefore, sometimes, and they are also doing quite well, to be honest, out there. And it doesn't mean that they are not good enough. So there's a segment of students who does O levels and they don't do A levels, and they usually finish their degrees by 20 years of age, very young. And there's a set of students like us who went to university, and like you guys who are in the university, where we do our A levels and come to university and have a different experience. It doesn't mean that they are better than you and you are better than them or anything like that. It's just that these are different experiences. They don't get the experience of going through a very interesting exam or going through this university culture. And they have a different experience and we have a different experience. So there's always a difference. So therefore, putting that school and your A-level results will give us an understanding sometimes, not the full results, like, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, A, like don't waste 4 lines, 4 rows for that. Just in 1 row, finish everything, school, A-level, done, that's enough. So that we understand the difference, that whether these people are coming from this line or not also. So because there's a difference between how you get groomed when you come through a certain amount of exams or discipline that you, when it comes to studies. So that's another thing that I forgot to mention here at the part of education. So then comes the extracurricular activities segment. Now this is extremely important because now when you come to a job, now as soon as you finish your degree, what happens is you look for a job, or you look for an internship, or you look for a contractual opportunity. Now, why should we hire you? We should hire you because we have a vacancy and we need talent. Now, when we need talent, you are coming without experiences. How can we figure out whether you are good enough or not? Now, we have some clarity of whether you are good enough based on your education. But education is a segment only in terms of theoretical knowledge and certain practical knowledge if you are doing practicals and through your assignments that our lecturers provide you all to do, which sometimes our students take it too simply, which shouldn't be the case. Now, there is the practical segment and you have your theory, but then what are the other softer skills that we really want to see from you all? There are, now if you really look at day-to-day life, say you are in the say as an example, you are a finance manager, and that you get a really big project to solve, like problem to solve. Now you have to go and present it to the board if you are a manager in a company. Now the situation where you had to use your technical knowledge as a finance graduate, like a finance manager, the technical knowledge of finance was say 25%, the rest 70% all connect with the skills. You have to go and talk to the board, you had to present it to stakeholders, you had to get the buy-in from other service providers, you had to put analysis and you had to logically think about certain things, you had to articulate the information, you have to communicate it with them, you have to probably make a report, you have to work with the team to get that information going, you have to make pricing decisions with a larger team, and maybe you have to visit some other places and get things going. So if you really look at it, while you put your theoretical knowledge into practice, at the same time you need a lot of softer skills to move forward. Now, this is where you will uplift your soft skills, and this segment is where you will be able to showcase how great you are as a talent compared to others. This is where we get more proof that you are more suitable for this opportunity. So this extracurricular activity segment, it can be different from person to person. As an example, one person can categorize as leadership to clubs, to volunteer, to sports, to travel. Some person can club it as leaderships to volunteer, to sports, to international experiences, to government affiliations or something. Some person can update it as, I don't know, social associations, social community projects, competitions, awards or something like that. So depending on your extracurricular activities, what you can do is make a list of all extracurricular activities. Your home extracurricular activities list එකක් හදාගෙන try to cluster it. Cluster කරන්න. බලන්න මේ ඔයගලන්ගේ 10ක් තියෙනවනේ activities. මේක මේව මොනකටද වැටෙන්නේ එහෙම. එතකොට leadership university එකේ leadership තියෙනවද, clubs මොනවාද, associations ඔය ටික දාගෙන one thing that you need make sure is that always, even in education, even in job opportunities, you need to always mention what you are doing now and go to history. You shouldn't be starting from historical things to now. That means, like, as an example, you shouldn't be starting from O-level, A-level, and then to university. You shouldn't be doing that. You should start from university, then A-level to O-level. Yeah. So if you are updating your extracurricular activities, you should first put university extracurricular activities and then go to school activities. But my advice is don't put grade 5, grade 6, 7, 8, 9 extracurricular activities. There's no point. Put something that you were doing maybe at A levels, nothing lower than that. Because as organizations, what we look at is, as an adult, were you able to make certain decisions? Especially, we believe that when you are at university, you are making some decisions, and that decisions get reflected in the extracurricular activities that you are doing. So in that context, the priority should be always on the top to university extracurricular activities, and then should go to the A-levels level, whatever you have done, especially sports or any clubs and association stuff, or any remarkable stuff that you have done in the national level or whatsoever. Now, every segment, when this is not actually related to the CV writing, but every segment, when you are writing, parallelly make sure that you note down leadership, under leadership, some very interesting stories that you can think of. Okay, when I was a leader, I did this biggest project. This was the challenging project. This was the challenging moment I had in life. As a club vice president, this was the most interesting moment. This was the most challenging moment. This was the moment that I challenged my team. As volunteering, this was the most heartwarming moment. This was the most impactful moment. This was the time that I enjoyed the most. So because these are the questions that you will get in an interview. So when you are updating all these things, you need to update your extracurricular activities according to this. Now in all these things, again, always remember, don't forget about the fact that you are making this CV to apply for a job. Now, always remember, what you need to do is to have your job advertisement in front of you when you are updating your CV. If you have a generic CV, a generic CV ekana use karane for the job, have the job advertisement near you while you are making the CV. Now, job peke kiyanawana, like say as an example, you are applying for a training manager job. Now, the job requires someone who is has leadership capabilities, someone who can organize events, someone who can manage money, someone who can do some community service because the training programs to be delivered to communities, someone who has some emotional intelligence, someone who is great at training. Now, these are the capabilities that this particular job is looking for. Then your CV should cater to that. Basically, when the recruiter look at the job advertisement and your CV, it should synchronize. මේ දෙක ගැලපෙන්න ඕන. එතකොට මේ advertisement එකේ තියෙන capabilities වලට ගැලපෙන උත්තර මේකේ තියෙන්න ඕන. Your CV. එතකොට ඒකේ තියෙනවා නම් great teamwork කියලා job advertisement එකේ කියනවා නම් අපිට great teamwork තියෙන කෙනෙක් ඕන, emotional intelligence high වෙන්න ඕන, මෙයාට event organize කරන්න පුළුවන් වෙන්න ඕන, මෙයාට data analyze කරන්න පුළුවන් වෙන්න ඕන කියලා. You can even put in the top, on the top of your CV, in the vision purpose statement, the vision part of it, I'm a great team player with great analytical mindset, something like that. Because the words, you need to pick up the words that are in your advertisement. So take a highlighter and highlight the important words in the job advertisement. Always. Job advertisement එක බලලා job advertisement එකේ තියෙන important words highlight කරගන්න ඕන. ඒ words ටික බලලා බලන්න ඕන ඔයාගේ CV එකේ ඒ words වලට ගැලපෙන sections තියෙනවද කියලා. Like as an example, volunteer work වල කොහේ හරි තැනක පේනවද team player කියලා. Analyze කරන segment එකේ කොහේ හරි තැනක තියෙනවද ඔයා analyze කරන්න ඔයාට capability එකක් තියෙනවද කියලා. ඔයාගේ internship opportunity එකක් ඔයා internship කරපේකව analyze කරලා මොකක් හරි value add කරලා තියෙනවද? Is there any example that we can pick up that මේකට මේක ගැලපෙනවා? That's what matters. Otherwise මේකේ තියෙනවා team work ඕන, analyze කරන කෙනෙක් වෙන්න ඕන, organize කරන්න පුළුවන් වෙන්න ඕන කියලා එකක්වත් ඔයාගේ CV එකේ නැත්තම් your CV is not going to get selected. Your CV should always match. Say, as an example, imagine you are planning to go on a trip to another country or something, and you are looking for a hotel room, right? That's what we usually do. And you go to some system and you start finding rooms, and then we click, right? Okay, I want a 3-star hotel or something like that. Okay, it should have AC, hot water. I need breakfast and lunch and dinner, all 3, and the cost should be also less than 5,000 rupees. My budget is less. Parking also තියෙන්න ඕන. ඔය ඔක්කොම balcony වෙන්නත් ඕන. ඔය විදිහට අපි බලනවානේ. We check the filter. That's filtering we do when we want something. I mean, let's forget about a hotel room. Let's look at Keels අපි කීරස් එකට ගිහලා ඔන්ලයින් බඩු ඕඩර් කරනවානේ ඔයගොල්ලෝ අපි දැන් හැමෝම. අපි ගිහිල්ලා අපි ෆිල්ටර් කරනවා. ඒ වගේ තමයි ජොබ් ඇඩ්වර්ටයිස්මන්ට් එකක් දැම්මම ජොබ් එකට එන CV අපි ෆිල්ටර් කරනවා. તો ජොබ් ඇඩ්වර්ටයිස්මන්ට් එකේ අපි ලියලා තියෙනවානේ මේ වගේ මිනිස්සෙක් ඕන අවුරුදු 2ක එක්ස්පීරියන්ස් තියෙන්න ඕන. එමෙ සමහරවිට එක්ස්පීරියන්ස් පාර්ට් එකට බය වෙන්න එපා. Yes, companies put experience, but sometimes or experience tibbe නැති වුණාට ගන්න. Like we have taken many people like that. Just give it a try. සමහර වෙලාව අවුරුදු 10ක් තියදී වට එකක් කියලා යවන්න එපා. එහෙම නෙවෙයි මම කියන්නේ. When you have 1 year, 1.5 year experience and asking for someone for 3 year experience, give it a try sometimes. As if you have potential and if you show capacity and you have the attitude, sometimes we hire. Now, what you have to be very careful is that you need to put some research and put some effort, understand the job advertisement, and based on that, you need to update your extracurricular activities. Are you clear in this segment? Did I make sense to you, all of you? Did you understand?
Madam,
Yeah.
what does the fifth point elaborate, madam? Travel and culture, like I didn't get the point.
So say as an example, there are some students who go on exchanges. Some students do student exchange programs. Some universities provides, like I think NSBM provides this 1.5 months exchange for 16 odd students. So some universities provide the exchange exposure. That is what I meant. Some university students, some students from school goes to debating competitions abroad. Sports competitions abroad. So sometimes you can put that as cultural exchange exposure, because when you have that, that gives a lot of validity to your profile, because it gives us an open-mindedness. It talks about diversity and inclusion. It gives about capability of accepting different cultures, facing different challenges. If you have gone, like sometimes some students go through very interesting experiences when they go alone on these challenge exposure experiences. So that is what we mean by this segment. Yeah.
Okay,
Clear?
madam, thank you. Yeah, madam.
So if say as an example, if we're applying for a company like ours, that segment can make a lot of impact, because we are a multinational and we have people from different cultures working together. And you working with people from another country, from other countries, and have that exposure and that appetite to work with different cultures and accepting different dynamics and have that cultural dexterity gives a lot of validity to the application. Yeah. So depending on company to company, depending on, I mean, there are a lot of local companies who have global, their jobs, their locations in other countries as well. Like some of our local companies operating globally. So therefore nowadays, because world is becoming smaller, having that cultural exposure makes a lot of difference, and having that open-mindedness. Now, after extracurricular activities, other information, the skills part is also very important. Now, skills kiwama, you don't have to go and find a skill list in Google and just put it there. You need to find skills that are related to the job that you apply. And those skills are the skills that you need to put. Yeah. Sorry, I had to take off these glasses, goes through this and it hurts my head. So sorry. When it comes to skills, you need to update skills that are relevant to the job that you are applying. So as an example, if you're applying for a marketing job, creativity, consumer insights, understanding, data-driven marketing, those are certain set of skills. Now, but you can't update skills without knowing much about that. බොරුවට දාන්න යන්න එපා. මොකද ඊට පස්සේ හිර වෙනවා. Like if I sit for the panel, I for sure ask a question on this segment. I always ask a question on this from this segment. Looking at your CV, මම අහනවා බලලා. Like, tell me now, you have told that you have emotional intelligence. Tell me a situation where you showcased emotional intelligence. I ask a question. Like, there are different interviewers who will ask questions from different segments. I usually ask a question from this segment. So skills, you need to put relevant to the job that you apply, and a skill that you obviously have. And for your skills, you need to have your stories ready. Yeah. Enisa, don't be fake, be authentic and put something that's relatable. Yeah. And language matters a lot. Nowadays we are globally, we are getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Yeah. Your language is not about only English. It's not about only French or one main languages. It's about, even though you know the language, how you can articulate, how you can communicate, how you can share some information, how can you explain. සමහර කට්ටිය අපි න සිංහලෙනුත් explain කරන්න බෑ. සමහර students ලා එනවා interview එකට English කතා කරන්න නැහැ. So අපි කියනවා so speak in සිංහල කියලා. සිංහලෙන් උත්තර දෙන්නෙත් නැහැ. ඒකට හේතුව language එක නෙවෙයි ප්‍රශ්නේ. impactful communication කියන එක තමයි ප්‍රශ්නේ. ප්‍රශ්නේ වෙන්නේ අපිට තියෙන දැනුම එක explain කරගන්න තේරෙන්නේ නැති එක. So ඒ නිසා language skill එක විතරක් තිබ්බට මදි. Sometimes you might be great at English or great at Sinhala, but whether you are great at communicating is what you need to work on. Understood? Writing, speaking, and articulating, telling a story, that matters. You need to work on these skills while you are at university. University is the best place to work on it. So language skills matters a lot. Isarahata. Knowing languages will matter a lot. Tamil, English, Sinhala, main 3 languages of the country. If you can speak all 3, that will be great. And if you can add more languages to your menu of languages, that would be great, because in the end of the day, it is to communicate. It's a channel. අපි පාරේ යනකොට බස් එකක් වෙනකොට කාර් එකක් හරි බයිසිකල් එකක් හරි මොකක් හරි යූස් කරනවා වගේ ගමන පහසු කරන්න මේක මාධ්‍යයක් කතා කරන්න. So මේක යූස් කරන්නේ අදහස් ප්‍රකාශ කරන්න. So සමහරුන්ට කතා කරන්න පුළුවන් languages තියෙනවා, සමහරුන්ට කතා කරන්න බැරි languages තියෙනවා. So මේක තමන් හිතන්න ඕන what is going to help you in the future, because globally countries are getting smaller and smaller, because we are having a lot of opportunities across the world. Online jobs, different job models, gig economy is coming, and freelancing opportunities, consultant opportunities. There are a lot of different types of job models popping up across the world. So etakota, how can you communicate? How are you going to utilize these opportunities? Samahalata avrudu 10 vitara permanent jobs might be lesser in the world. We might have other types of job models. So etakota, how are you going to survive? So skills, linguistic skills, hadaganda, it's very important. So language skills matter. References waladi vadagatma reference ekak tamai. Firstly, while you need to put a relevant person who can articulate your capabilities well to the employer who you are going to hire, the person should have time to talk about you firstly. Then samaneng what happens is, now oya job ekata select unayin passe the references balana company එක කරන්නේ or reference එක තියෙන මිනිස්සෙක්ට ලියලා අහනවා, do you refer this person? If so, please fill this document. It's a massive document they sent us to fill. Now you should select a person who really cares for you, who really values you, and who really knows you, and who can actually fill that article. It has lot of information to fill in the end of the day. Or reference එක දාන මනුස්සයට has to fill information. I get lot of documents like that. Most of these undergraduates who I work with, they put my name as referee. You have to justify why you are referring this person. So if you are putting, just like Mr. Shamil said, if you are referring your school teachers, if they don't understand what you are even studying right now, if this teacher is a preschool teacher or someone who's taught you when like you guys were in grade 6, 7, you're putting them through a very tough time. If they actually don't understand like your area of study, or the job that you are going to work for. So make sure that you put someone who actually matters properly and someone who can actually take some time out and write on behalf of you. Sometimes students put very senior people like chairmen who doesn't have time for you. Maybe it's father's friend. but you put it because of the position or the designation, but they don't have time, they don't even know it. And then sometimes they will not write your reference. So therefore, be mindful, put someone who actually cares for you, who thinks about your development, who support your development, who actually knows you, and who will have time to write this on behalf of you. Yeah, and don't ever forget to thank the person when you get the job. Yeah, in the end of the day, sometimes you might not get the job if the referee didn't write your reference. Yeah, be very grateful to the person. And always remind the referee that you are applying for this job and you have added him or her as a referee. Don't forget to thank and be grateful if you get selected. Now, this is more or less it in terms of a CV. A very simple thing. It's just that you need to be tactful and smart and intelligent when it comes to making this. It needs to match the job that you are applying or the purpose that you are applying for. If it doesn't suit, then there's no point of applying. Yeah. There's a question. Could you please explain about the experience 0.5 bullet value addition? I worked at BOC, personal banking unit. What kind of value addition should I add? So you, what you can add is what you did there, but let's just think about it. If you worked at BOC, personal banking unit, did you do anything new? Say as an example, did you bring out some simplification to the process, or did you bring out some, did you bring some efficiency to the process, or did you work around some policy to the process? If you didn't do that, then put achievement. If you didn't add any value, like if you didn't bring out any simplification or didn't bring a new digitization process or something, add achievements. Okay, I completed 100,000 odd transactions within 4 months. I was the best worker of the month or something like that 2 times. So if you don't have value additions, put achievements. If you don't have that, both of them, then just put certain tasks that you did. That's how you can go about it. Value additions and achievements, and both you, if you don't have any of that, then just put the tasks that you completed. The referee, there's no specific qualification. I don't know, like we don't expect specific qualification. What we check is whether this person is a reputed person, can tell about, justify whether you have, whether they can justify you to us, and at the same time, whether the person who's justifying you to us have experience with you in a certain context, and specifically if that certain context is in a professional context. And up to a certain extent, they have had at least 1 to 2 year experience with you in that context. Yeah. So I'll finish and answer the questions. Sandhuna, I'll answer your question after I finish this presentation. Okay. This is only 1 slide. So what not to put? You don't have to put your mother, father, sister, brother, their information. No need of family information, religious details, or primary schools information, or confidential sensitive data. This, I don't really see the point of why you need to sign off saying this information I hereby say accurate. Iting okay, accurate like, will you ever sign hereby I say this is not accurate? Yeah, you know, well, if you want, you can still put, but not mandatorily required. And always remember not to have spelling mistakes. Try not to have more than 2 pages. And always don't copy, guys. Ayo copy non karanne pa. Me lamai samahalata copy karana hariyata yaluwange CV එක. ඒක නමවත් වෙනස් කරන් ඉන්නේ සමහර වෙලාවට. අන්න ඒක තමයි තියෙන වැරද්ද. So ඒ නිසා please don't do that. Formatting වලදී බලන්න ඔයගොල්ලෝ headline වලට ගත්තේ formats එක 12 නම් ඊළඟ එකටත් 12 ගන්න, ඊළඟ එකටත් ඒ හැම එකටම හරි formatting එක ගන්න, හරි font එක ගන්න. Don't have different types of fonts and different types of, you know, whatever the sizes. and reverse chronological order කියන්නේ ඔයගොල්ලෝ දැන් කරන එක තමයි මුලින්ම ලියන්න ඕන ඊට පස්සේ තමයි ඔය පරණේව ලියන්න. Like I mentioned, university first, A levels, O levels. If you are putting, but don't get into detail like all the 9 subjects and stuff like that. Customize your CV. And another thing that I want to tell you is don't send your CV in Word document, in a Word document. Make your CV a PDF all the time. And always remember, when you are starting to make a CV, your Word document by default is at the letter format. So make sure that you make it an A4 format. And after making an A4 format, start making your CV and make sure that you share it with 2 to 3 people who doesn't know you much, or a friend who doesn't, or a friend or someone who doesn't know you much, and ask for their perspective. Because the person who's going to read is someone who doesn't know you. So, Enisa, whether the message that you want to land is going to get landed. The other thing that I wanted to tell you is, now as an example, when you read a document, now if this is the document, you read the document from top to bottom most of the time, and our eyes automatically goes to the left hand side, like left to down, top to bottom, left. We don't read from right to left, right? Right it's not in Sri Lankan context. We don't read from this side to this side. We read from this side to this side. So think about the human nature who reads this, mostly read by a human. And when you try to be very creative, try not to put it like a, don't make it creative, but make it not too tough for the recruiter to be like a jigsaw puzzle. Where is this information? Try to make it easy for the person to read, so that it's not tough. Otherwise, it takes time and the recruiter will get frustrated because they have thousands of CVs to go through. And more importantly, this is an example of how a resume rubric look like. Like say as an example, how an excellent rubric look like. This is for one pager. This is for in America, when they make CVs. This is from a document that I have taken. You can take a screenshot if you want. If it is a one pager, how it looks like. And if it is multiple pages, in their country it's unacceptable. You can see. This is American, because I did a course from one of the universities in America, and this is what they gave us, and they find it's unacceptable for multiple pages. So if you are applying for anything in America, try to go for a one-pager resume, not to go for multiple pager resume. And if you go to other side, it says education segment, how it should look like. And then how an average and excellent this one looks like. Yeah, so more or less that's pretty much it I wanted to highlight today. I'll answer the questions now. I think there are a lot of questions. There's a couple of questions. So let me see. There's a question on the importance of LinkedIn and validation of LinkedIn. So see, LinkedIn is different to CV. To be honest, the LinkedIn is becoming more trendy than a CV. The thing is, LinkedIn is easier for a recruiter. The more that you have, and LinkedIn makes your life more easier because you can update your information more important. But the thing is, unlike CV, you need to be at LinkedIn. Like you need to continue to update LinkedIn. You need to post in LinkedIn. You need to engage in LinkedIn. You cannot go like once a month to LinkedIn, and you can't. It's a different art altogether, and it's a different platform altogether. And LinkedIn is more popular among recruiters than a CV because it's easy for a recruiter. It's just automated search engine for talent. So therefore, the importance of LinkedIn is much more higher, and we prefer that our talent is in LinkedIn because it's easy for us. Validation of LinkedIn resume, it is as this. So LinkedIn, whatever you update in LinkedIn is what the LinkedIn resume will provide. So therefore, if you don't update the right information in LinkedIn resume, when you download the resume from LinkedIn, it will not provide that information. So LinkedIn has more options, more information, but you need to update it. So sometimes if you don't have too many informations, you can make this manual CV. It is valid. Sometimes our recruiters also download the candidate profile from the LinkedIn resume, LinkedIn and share it with us. So that's not a problem. What kind of colors? There's no hard and fast rule in terms of colors that you should use for a CV. And formats also, there are lots of format that you can use. There's no specific format that you say this is a right format and this is a wrong format. As long as the format gives clarity and more space for information, that's fine. If you go to internet, if you go to Canva, and then there's CV making sites, there are a lot of CV making sites. And in Canva, if you go, Canva also has CV formats available, very nice, very clear, very classic. So you can use those stuff. Color doesn't matter as long as your story matters. Your story matters. Yeah. Cover letter, to be honest, I actually, I mentioned, recruiters don't have time to read the CV. And cover letter, we actually don't prefer a cover letter because it's too much of work for us. Cover letter is sometimes, it's basically the justification, justification as to why you are applying and what is the reason that we should hire you. And why you are so good at this, why we should hire you as a candidate is what cover letter mostly shares. What cover letter mostly implies as to. It depends on company to company. I'm not too sure how many companies here around ask for cover letter. We for sure don't ask for cover letters because it's too much of work for us. We don't have time to read and go through cover letters, but it is basically justifying why you are applying, what's the reason behind, what's the motivation, and why you are a good candidate for that position. Sample CV, let me check. I don't have some sample CVs with me right now, except my CV, but my CV is a little bit longer because my CV was made for an internal thing, and it is a longer version because that was what was asked. I don't have a sample CV. If I am sharing someone else's CV, I have to get approval because it has sensitive information. So I don't have a sample CV right now, except my CV. Let me check. Just give me a minute. So my CV is very internal, one made for internal documentation. So therefore, you shouldn't take it as an example. Let me share. Because it is for a 9-year experienced employee. So this is not for outside utilization. So this CV is very simple. It has 2 pages. So what I have updated is, I have updated basically my name and my purpose. You can see my screen, right?
Yes, madam.
Yes, madam.
Okay. So I have updated my name and my date of birth.
Yes, madam.
Okay. My date of birth and stuff like that. And who I am, like what I can offer. This is not for outside thing, this is for internal experience. So then basically what I have done is the job and my expertise areas in the job. I don't know whether you can see. If this is the job that I am doing, what are my expertise that I can add to the business, and some some achievements, what I have achieved, and some global exposures, like what I have globally done, some projects likewise. And then the other jobs that I have done one by one, and every job what I have shared was the expertise that I have under each job. So that it showcases the experience and the expertise that I can bring in to the business. And under every job that I have done, what are the value additions, summarized value additions. I had a longer version than this, but I reduced to 3 pages. So then after that, what I have done is I have put, awards and recognition, because education in our company, when you are internal education, they will not look. So I have put the awards and recognitions, and then I have put the academic qualifications, and then I have put volunteering and languages. So volunteering makes a lot of sense for Unilever because we are a highly purpose-driven organization. So volunteering talks a lot about how you bring your purpose into life. So how you volunteer. So I volunteers a lot. So I put volunteers and what I do. So I don't have a skill segment because I highlight my skills and expertise under this space. Yeah, this part. So I have not put another skill segment. What I have done was I have captured all my work that matters to the job that I applied. Now, you need to understand this particular CV is catering to the job that I'm applying, that I was applying for internally. So in that context, this doesn't mean that this will be the same if I apply for another job or if I'm going to make another CV. Yeah. So that's just for you to understand. Okay. Guys, if you have, okay, there's a question. I was thinking that it's a question. I was reading out loud. Do we need to send a cover letter, separate photograph along? Separate photographs you never send with the CV. You attach that into the CV. Cover letters, if it's required only. Fonts, I have here used some font that I really like. Usually you can use Times New Roman or Calibri or something like that, which is very official, not the funky like the Comic Sans MS, which we all like. When that is not what we are going to send, but like the usual professional fonts that you should be using. Yeah, there's a question. As an intern, left the company to some personal matter. 3 times, be able to come back since I was working very well, but gained due to personal. Is it okay to add that point my CV? No, I suggest not to put it. Don't put that because if you have not properly resigned from that company, then if this particular company calls that company and try to get more information, and they inform that the resignation didn't happen properly, it will not look good on you. You can mention probably that you worked there, and if they ask more information, you can say it's a very confidential personal matter which you cannot disclose, hence you resigned. If you have resigned in the right manner, then you don't have to put it as a problem. You don't have to worry, you can just put it. If it hadn't properly, then you can put it, not a problem. If they called you 3 times and you are not going back, it's because of a personal matter, not a problem. It's your personal choice. Okay, all clear? When we are sending the CV through email, whom should be addressed and what should be included? So usually when you are sending through an email, if you know to whom it goes, you can say dear so-and-so. If not, you can say to whom it may concern. Yeah, and be very respectful. When you are sending you can send, you say referring to the job advertisement that was updated in the Times paragraph, like daily news or whatever, or social media, this date, I'm applying for this position. Please kindly refer to the CV attached with or something like that. You can write very simply. Don't write long emails to managers. Try to keep it at a credit card size. Short and sweet, clear. Okay. What kind of things that company expect from an undergraduate? What kind of things companies expect from an undergraduate is mostly, we know that you all don't have the experiences. So we will expect that you guys put some attention to your studies, and at the same time that you put attention to extracurricular activities. So that is where we will get some, that is when we get, that's where we get proof to understand whether you have the right capabilities and the competencies to thrive in a job that we are going to offer you. Mostly what we look at, whether you have that fire in the belly, appetite to grow, learn, and has the potential and the capacity. So start working on your skills. Skills matter a lot. And at least communication skills matter a lot. Your capability of convincing, having a conversation, articulating, and at the same time being intelligent, smart, try to get your knowledge to reality, and the growth mindset, the mindset to learn, get the best out of available opportunities and grow, hungry to grow, learn. But this depends from industry to industry, company to company, job to job, function to function. So when you are applying for a job, make sure that you do some research and apply. Okay. In the CV, we only include 2 or 3 names. Does it matter? If you have longer name, if you have long names, if you mean, it's fine. If you have a long name, you can put your, say, if I am going to put, I can say I will put Keshavi UD Pusteval or something like that. So at least they will know Keshavi as my main name, or you can just put the full name. That's not a problem. That's not a problem. But first, main name, preferred name, you should make sure that your preferred name is mentioned somewhere. I mean, mentioned like as my first name, so that we know that's the name that we will have to highlight, like talk to you with. If someone doesn't have extracurricular activities, is it a matter? Well, now you are in the university, you can start working on it. If you didn't have extracurricular activities at the school, it's okay. Maybe now you are in the university, start getting into something and start working on it. If you don't have extracurricular activities at all, then you need to be able to justify you are a great team player. Think about how you want to showcase it. You need to justify you are great at, you have passion to do service. You should be good at justifying all the other things that people can justify through extracurricular activities. So as long as you can justify and showcase proof, won't be a problem. But I guess it's going to be a little bit tough. So start working on your extracurricular activities in the university so that it will help you. If you don't have, so see, you can write your strong CV towards the end of your campus time if you are a first year or a second year, because obviously you don't have a strong experience right now because you are a student. But you can have a lot of extracurricular activities and make it stronger. So don't worry if you don't have work experience, because we don't expect you to have work experience by the time that you come out. That's why I didn't want to show my CV, because I have 9 years experience. That's why I have a lot of information, but you don't have it. It's okay. What you can have is extracurricular activities. That's what you can spend time and invest time on and work on. So work on that and and work on your skill. Plan karana sandu that I'll practice on communication. Angharwa that I'll start learning on Excel, Power BI. Mogakari, I will every Tuesday I'll do 30 minutes of that. Every Wednesday, I will do another skill, maybe problem. I'll take a case study and try to crack it. Mukakari skill pahak plan karala igena ganda balanda. Me gedara inna dawastike. Very important. Otherwise, it is going to be tough. Oh. If I'm good at creative writing, can I add it to the CV? Yes, you can add it as a hobby. Hobbies also gives us a lot of signals about who you are. I remember I started asking, I opened up an interview connected to hobbies with one person. That person ended up as a ULIP in our company. So that's, you can add as a, in the hobby section or interest section. Does it matter the reputation of previous world companies? Your reputation or the company reputation? Reputation of the company, right? Am I understanding the question? Reputation of the previous company. Well, it depends. It depends. Most of the time, like in our company, what we actually look at is whether it's a smaller company or a big company, whether you have done your job. It doesn't matter whether it's a small company or a big company, even if it's a sillara kadayak, doesn't matter, as long as you have done your job and you have brought some change to the business. Yes, but reputation matters a lot. Sometimes, say as an example, if you have been a part of a large known reputed organizations and organization and applying to our company, well, of course, we understand the value and the exposure, gamut of the exposure that you would have received. Say as an example, most of our interns, Unilever interns, get a lot of great opportunities outside. They land good jobs because the fact that our market knows the opportunities that we provide internally. And so with the company reputation, if you have that company name in your CV, of course, it gives a brand building to your CV as well. As far as our company is concerned, even if you are coming from a smallest company and there is a talent, say as an example, there's one talent who is coming from the best company in the market, and there's a talent who is coming from the smallest company in the market. But at the interview, the student who came from the smallest company performed way better than this person. We hire the person who came from the smallest company, because what matters to us would be the merit or the knowledge and the capabilities that person brought in, bringing to the table. Samaharu namata company එකේ නම තම්මට වැඩ කරන්න නැතුව ඉඳලා එන්නත් පුළුවන්. So it's vice versa. You can have the reputed company in your CV, but you need to earn it in the interview. Yeah. Club memberships, yes. Club membership in the sense, if you're a part of a Leo club or a Rotary club or you're this commerce club, you can mention that as your extracurricular activity sector. How do I write a strong CV? I mentioned that example. I answered that one. No? In the end of any job, we should have skills to fulfill the job. So is it good or bad if we include our other skills like self-studies in online business marketing? So you mean self-studies? See, if it is a core fundamental to everyone, say as an example, all of us, all the undergraduates are studying online right now. Virtual, then you need to rightly word it. Say virtual collaboration. So you need to put it like that there. Virtual collaboration, virtual team management, virtual webinar driving or something like that. So then when the interview process, we will ask questions accordingly. Yeah. So I hope like I answered that question. Let me know if I didn't, because I'm not too sure I'm not too clear about your question. Okay. Madam, can we add online certificates? Yes, you can. You can add your online certification for that. But make sure when you are adding online certifications during an interview, they can ask as to why you did that certification. What's the reason for that certification? You need to, like some of our students, we are seeing they're just doing certifications for the sake of doing it, and there's no plan or anything in the mind. But maybe you can say you just did it because you wanted to explore, or you wanted to learn, you were curious about it, something like that. You need to have some justification or some answer as to why, but you can put it on the education segment. I worked in a bank and my duty was promoting their mobile app to the customers. I introduced it so you can put it as an achievement. Yes. introducing introducing the new mobile bank to 800 customers within, 5 weeks or something like that. So that you can add as an achievement. If we have an experience, but we don't have proper evidence to prove it, certificate, you don't have to have certificates to prove. Because always in the interview, when we ask the questions, through your facial expressions, we will figure out whether you are lying or not. And most of the time for all these jobs, we don't have certifications. And if you are putting a company name, obviously the recruiter can call that company, can ask whether this person has done it or not. But mind me, in an interview, if you try to lie, usually it shows on the face and the behavior. And sometimes if the interviewers can identify that you are trying to lie, they will go on and on about that question and make you understand then and there itself that you are done. So therefore, evidences to prove it, like we usually don't even check the certificate file sometimes. I don't know about public sector. Most of our companies don't these days much. So as long as you can tell the story genuinely, it will show on your face. Madam, if we start working in third year, how can we tackle with the intern requirement in year 4? You are planning to start in the third year. Okay, I think Dr. Shamil can answer that. I don't know how you guys will manage. I don't know about the schedule of your university, the campus, this thing. Some, I think probably, I don't know the number of lectures that you have to attend, whether the campus provides an internship in the third year or fourth year. So I might not be the best person to answer that question, to be honest. Madam, what can be done in these days for getting work experience online? Well, almost all the internships right now are online, actually, because of the country closure. And I hope, but again, it is very limited because the economy is down. The number of opportunities are lesser because organizations cannot afford a lot. So some organizations are still allowing, but some organizations are not offering too many. But you can go and search in Upwork or Fiverr.com or freelancer.com. You can open up, like you can start freelancing. I mean, it's not easy, but that's one way of where you can try on freelancing. But experiences, just keep an eye on the companies in the market. There are many times I have seen internship opportunities popping up and saying there are internships opportunities available and likewise. So probably you can try and apply. Certificates, I answered that question. Can I include my online jobs in the CV? Yeah, you can put online jobs in the CV, not a problem. 1 second, Rasanjana, how long I can go on? I'm getting a lot of questions. At what time I should finish? There are 2 questions. Shall I answer that too?
Okay, madam.
I was asked that if we gain some knowledge in few different parts like marketing, creative designing, but we don't have certificates because we learn those things by experimenting and experiencing. So should we include those things in our CV or should we tell in the interview? Some knowledge in few different parts like marketing, creative designing, but we don't have certificates. Those things are experimenting, experience. Did you do this experimenting and experiencing with another company, or you did it with yourself, or did you do it with university? So that I need that information for me to give an advice there. If you did it with another company, well, of course you can mention, and if we can investigate more about it after interview, we can call that company and ask. But if you have done it with yourself, you can't mention it. When it comes to the language, does the language like French, Spanish, German counting on the corporate sector? Yeah. It doesn't matter as long as, I mean, you can put your language, the linguistic skills. It's not a problem. There are companies who have their institutions in different countries. If you have the capability in speaking in other languages, that's fine. Good, it showcases a capability. Linguistic capabilities, it's not something that everyone has. It's not something that everyone can do. It's not easy to learn a language, and it's a skill. So not a problem. Last one, if we have training on non-related field to our career path, we can add it to our CV. For an example, I had a medical training in my AI, but I'm management. Yeah, you can add it, not a problem. Sometimes in an interview, they will ask as to why you did it. So as long as you have a proper justified answer, won't be an issue. Cool. I guess I answered a lot of questions.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So with the intention of continuous development of our commerce undergraduates, today we had our session 1.5 CV writing, which is something really, really important for everyone. So once again, thank you so much, Ms. Keshavi Pusbola, HR Business Partner, Corporate Functions and R&D and Employee Brand Lead of Unilever Sri Lanka. So we have come to the end of today's session, and I would like to invite Apsari Wijayaratna to deliver the word of thanks.
Good evening, everyone. To remark the end of sixth session of Commerce 101, I would like to express heartiest gratitude to Ms. Keshavi, the keynote speaker for the day. It's a pleasure to listen to your valuable ideas again for our undergraduate. I would like to thank Dr. Shamil, Head of the Department of Commerce and Financial Management, Dr. Tishani Hera, Coordinator of the Commerce Stream, Mr. Sajid Ranasinghe, Senior Treasurer of Commerce Club, and all the dignitaries who join us today. Finally, my thanks goes to all the participants who join us and members of the Commerce Club who work behind the screen toward the success of this event. Once again, thank you everyone and stay safe.
Thank you, Apsari. And also, I would like to remind you that our newly launched Commerce Club website is now available on www.commerceclub.lk. So visit the page, and I'm very sure that it's going to be a great experience for you all. And now we are officially winding up the session. Thank you, everyone, and stay safe.
Thank you all. Thank you, Keshavi.
Yeah. Thank you, Keshavi.
Thank you.
And thank you all for organizing the event.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.